Today's question is, what would it take for you to change your mind? We're in Exodus 8, and this is where God turns the heat up on Egypt. Pharaoh's stubborn heart is about to meet some plagues that he's not going to soon forget. Verses 1 through 15, we got the second plague, frogs everywhere. God tells Moses, go back to Pharaoh and say to him, this is what the Lord says. Let my people go so they can worship me. And if Pharaoh won't listen, get ready. I'm going to cover your palace, your houses, and your fields with frogs. There's going to be frogs in your bed, frogs in your kitchens, frogs jumping in your bowls, frogs everywhere. Moses tells Aaron to stretch out a staff over the rivers, and millions of frogs come swarming in Egypt. And guess what? The Egyptian magicians copied the frog trick too. Again, just making things worse. So Pharaoh, he just can't take it no more, and he begs Moses. He's like, go plead with the Lord to take the frogs away. And Moses goes, all right, pick the time. So Pharaoh says, tomorrow. So Moses prays and the frogs die. But after Pharaoh gets a little relief, it says, Pharaoh saw that relief had come, and so he became stubborn. Listen, some people cry out when things get bad, but forget God as soon as it gets better. In verses 16 through 19, we see the third plague, the gnats. So God says, all right, next plague. So Aaron strikes the dust with his staff, and gnats rise up, and they cover the people, they cover the animals, little bugs crawling everywhere, in your nose, in your ears, your hair. It's just nasty everywhere. This time the magicians try to copy it, but they can't. They admit to Pharaoh, hey, this is the finger of God. Even the devil's boys had to admit it. God's hand was at work, but Pharaoh still won't listen. His heart stayed hard as a rock. In verses 20 through 32, you see the fourth plague, flies. Now, God sends Moses back to Pharaoh in the morning by the river and says, let my people go so they can worship me. If you refuse, I will send swarms of flies on you, your officials, your people, all your houses. And this time, God says, he's going to make a difference. But this time, I'm going to spare the region of Goshen where my people live. No flies will be found there. God knows how to protect his own people. Sure enough, flies invade Egypt. Goshen stays fly-free. Flies are in Pharaoh's palace. Flies buzzing in their food. Flies crawling on everybody. Pharaoh starts hollering, go ahead and offer sacrifices to your God, but do it here in Egypt. Moses goes, no, sir, not today. Israel must leave Egypt to sacrifice properly. Pharaoh tries to wheel and deal, but finally he says, all right, go, but pray for me too. Moses prays. God removes the flies. And don't you know it? Pharaoh again became stubborn, and he refuses to let the people go. Same story, different plagues. So what's Exodus 8 teaching us? Hard hearts will always try to bargain with God instead of surrendering. And God's power is real, and even the enemy has to recognize it. And partial obedience ain't no obedience at all. And God protects his people even in the middle of judgment. Listen, when God says, let my people go, he ain't talking no halfway. Pharaoh tried to cut deals, tried to delay, tried to act spiritual when it suited him, but God don't play games and he don't lose battles. When God starts shaking the kingdom, you better believe he's going to finish the job. So keep reading your Bible and don't be dumb.